guys? It's your boy Jay, and welcome to a brand new episode of Comic Chasers, my weekly comic review series. So, I hope you're ready for this shot of pop culture, because this is the last episode for the month of March, and we are ending with a bang. We've got another pretty decent sized stack this week, back to back, in fact. But this one isn't as much. We've got 9 books versus 10. But thankfully, I looked ahead next week, and next week is going to be pretty light. So thank God. Thank God for my wallet sake. But I'm going to try my best to cut this down and not yap as much. We're going to try to keep this like under half an hour tops. But buckle in, grab a snack, just in case we're here for a while, because I do have a lot to say about some of these issues, because we have some emotional heavy hitters this week when we get close to the end of the week. If you're new to the channel and you haven't checked out an episode of Comic Chasers before, the format in which I do this is kind of like a countdown, where basically I go through my entire pile and kind of like go from the comic I enjoyed the least and then end off with the comic that blew me away, that is like essentially my pick of the week. Now, like, just because something is at the bottom of the pile does not mean it's bad. Although if it is bad, I will tell you it's bad. It might just be kind of boring or meh, because that's how I've been feeling about a lot of books lately. As per usual, spoiler warning ahead, I will be talking about the plots for a lot of these stories, so if you have not read any of them, do yourself a favor, pick them up first, read them, and then come back and tell me your thoughts and feels in the comments down below. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. So first up, we have Ultimate Wolverine issue number 3. I forget who the creative team is. This is Dennis Condon and Cappuccio? Or not Dennis Condon, Chris Condon and Cappuccio. Dennis Camp. I was thinking of Dennis Camp, who does Ultimates. But yeah. This is Chris Condon and Cappuccio, Alexandra Cappuccio, or Alejandra Cappuccio, something like that. I apologize. I got your name wrong. The art in here is phenomenal, as always. So, I'll be honest, Wolverine has kind of just been generic, really good-looking action. And like last issue felt like a dope kind of like slasher movie type thing. This actually hooked me a lot more because it did more world building. Because we got to know more about the opposition, the like resistance force against the Eurasian Empire. And we get to see 2 of their agents in action in this issue, which we see on the cover. Kitty Pryde and Gambit, who are a thing in 6160. Don't tell Rogue. But I think it's cute. Clearly, it's shown that Kitty and Logan do have some kind of history in this world. I don't know what, but when she reaches inside his head, he like clearly has like a bunch of flashes, and like it kind of comes up and is like, Logan, why don't you remember me? Look, I'm going to ride through this arc because this is just a long, slow burn setup. Once he gets his memory back and he goes like full John Wick mode, shit's going to get real. And I cannot wait for that to happen. And I also can't wait to see him team up with some of his old teammates like Kitty, like Gambit, or Natasha. And we see Natasha joins the Resistance in this issue as well. So again, more world building. Some of the like little memory sequences are pretty interesting. Like we see Wolverine fighting a Sentinel in this, which I think we saw in Ultimates when Cap was like trying to catch up on the Maker's history that he created for this world. So hopefully we'll get more of that. It's really interesting because like this series, Ultimate Wolverine, features all the named X-Men characters you're expecting in like an X-Men book, but Peach Momoko's Ultimate X-Men is like all the way over here doing something completely different. Now, don't get me wrong. If you watched my episode last week, I still am enjoying Peach Momoko's X-Men. I understand people's complaints and it feels really disconnected, but I'm honestly really invested in this whole like Children of the Atom story and like this whole cult and where the mutants come from. Hopefully, it ties together because like it really does seem like Eurasia, especially, is focused on controlling and maintaining the mutant population. So maybe there'll be some crossover here, and we'll get some answers to that. But overall, pretty solid, but like nothing to write home about. It's really pretty. It's one of the best looking Marvel books out there, for sure. You know, Capuccio's art is beautiful, and I can't wait for Wolverine to get his memory back and just start getting his get back on the Rasputin family. All right, moving on. Sad to see this more towards the bottom of the pile, but here we are with Batman number 158. Yeah, 158. This is the first part of Hush 2, Chapter 1, The Pawn. This is written by, of course, the legendary dynamic duo of Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee, who did the original Hush back in '04. I want to say it was '04 or '03, somewhere around there. I think I was in elementary school. Uh, I remember reading Hush when it first came out. It was great. And I was really excited for this. Especially because I was like, so are they going to acknowledge all the other times Hush has returned before this? Because this is called Hush too, but like we've had Heart of Hush and a bunch of other stuff as well. So like, is that going to be acknowledged? So far, we don't know yet. But this was all just kind of set up, basically. Hush has like hacked the Batcave, and like Batman's entire like computer network has been compromised, which is crazy because they have bats. So like whoever's behind this has to be some kind of like super genius. And last time I checked, Tommy Elliott isn't like a tech whiz, so we'll find out. But the big thing here that they set up is this kind of like moral dilemma type thing where Hush lures Batman into this thing and he forces him into a decision. It's like, all right, so Joker's gonna die in a few hours if we just, from just bleeding out. I made sure to hit his arteries, but I hit them at points where he's gonna bleed out and die slowly. So you can either choose to save the Joker, or just leave me here to die. No one would know. Just you and me. It's a really interesting choice for Batman. I mean, we know how it's going to end because, like, it's not going to be that easy to just break Batman from his code. We did see Talia make an appearance in there, and I haven't seen Talia active in Batman stuff in a while, so I wonder if she's going to play an important part, or if this is just going to be like Hush 1, where, like, each of the Batman's like big important rogues kind of does like a cameo and plays like a big part in each specific chapter. Who knows? It's Jim Lee art, so you can't really complain. Anytime anytime the good old President Jim Lee comes out from behind his desk and back onto the drawing board, it's always good to see. Loeb hasn't missed a beat when writing Batman. He's got that kind of like, gritty detective sound down, and his banter for Babs and Dick is hilarious. Love it. This was all just kind of setup and table setting. Nothing really to write home about. And like the story didn't like leave me on a cliffhanger like, oh, man, I can't wait to see what happens next. I mean, like that decision is like, well, damn, that's fucked up. I'd personally leave Joker to die, but we know Batman's not going to. That's why he didn't really like leave me with a gasp kind of thing, because like what's gonna happen. But who knows? Maybe Loeb will throw a curveball at us. We'll find out. And if so, I'll eat my words on that one. But right now, this is just kind of okay. Like I don't regret buying it, but I was definitely expecting more. Next up, we have Radiant Black, issue number 32 by Kyle Higgins. This is the second part of the rebuild arc. You know, basically like the new jumping on point after the Catalyst War. And it's more of Marshall getting back on his feet, you know, trying to figure things out. He's, you know, even trying to date, and there's like a hilarious kind of sequence where he actually makes like a Tinder or a dating profile as Radiant Black, and it's just so funny because I'm like, all right, so how is this gonna work? Are you gonna just like keep the helmet on the whole time? Can you like despawn the bottom half of the costume so you can, you know, engage in adult activities but keep the helmet on? I mean, some chicks are probably into that, so you know, you never know. But that was fun. I I love seeing Marshall just kind of like figuring out the weird, like the weirdness of normal life, and like, you know, as someone in his 30s who has, you know, gone back and forth on online dating, that shit's a nightmare. So I definitely related to it. But Marshall might have found him somebody interesting because the leader of the gang that's been like gathering up all this like catalyst tech, uh, she quoted Clerks. So he's like, oh, someone who gets my references. Yes, as a nerd in his 30s, the bar is indeed that low, y'all. The bar is indeed that low. We're down bad out here. So I totally feel Marshall on this. Yeah, she's a supervillain. She committed domestic terrorism, but she's cute, and she understood my references. So I could fix her. It was fun. I had a blast. And, like, I am really curious to see how this kind of develops. Especially, like, the whole thing with the refugees from the other timeline. Because, like, it kind of reminds me of, like, all the shit that happened, like, with the people that blipped in the MCU. Like, kind of all just the implications of that. And, like, exploring people's perspective and on how, like, they feel about that. Like, I imagine, like, with those timeline refugees, there's got to be a lot of cases of like identity theft and shit. But is it really identity theft? If it is your identity, but from a different timeline. So many questions. Hopefully, we'll find out the answers. I'm loving Marshall's journey, and Radiant Black just continues to be really fun. All right, now we're checking out something new. This is Absolute Martian Manhunter, issue number 1. Written by Dennis Camp. That's why Dennis Camp was on the brain today. And art by Javier Rodriguez of Spider-Gwen fame. Javier Rodriguez also did the art for Zatanna Bring Down the House, and I do have that hardcover saved in my box at my local comic shop, so I will be picking up that soon, probably next week, because next week is a lighter week. But this is really interesting. You know, I talked about it before, but like, I was apprehensive on Martian Manhunter because, like, I'll be honest with you, Martian Manhunter is one of those characters that I've always found cool, and like I've liked his appearances in like the Justice League cartoon and other animated stuff, and like Supergirl. The actor who played him there was awesome, but I've never cared about him as like a solo character. Like the only real thing I know about John Jones is that he's addicted to Oreos, or I guess Chocos in the DC universe, because you know they don't have the copyright anymore for that. But this is a brand new take. They even like are separating the entities. It's not just John transforming into a human and trying to blend in. The alien is a separate entity to John Jones, the person. It's not just John Jones. It's John Jones, FBI analyst, and this alien who is like slowly connecting with John and sharing his like telepathic abilities. This book is super fucking trippy. Like, this is definitely done on purpose. So I gotta like tip my hat to Camp on this one. This book is like disorienting at times, but it really puts you in the headspace of John. Like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, what's with all this smoke? And like, you eventually find out that like it's the alien trying to communicate with him, and like sharing the telepathic abilities. And so he's like slowly learning how to like read people's minds. It's really, really interesting. Um, John is written like a Tom King protagonist, and I say that with all the love in the world because like he has this kind of like cold, detached, analytical personality that reminds me a lot of King's Batman um, and Vision. But I like it. It makes sense for somebody who is like constantly questioning the kind of randomness of the world, wanting control, and trying to figure things out, experiencing kind of this ultimate like it factor of like I don't know what the fuck is happening here. It's really interesting, and I can't wait to see like what this effect is because it's like you know I've always found power sets where like two entities share a body to be really interesting. Uh, they don't really do it with Captain Marvel because he just kind of transformed into the adult form. The adult form isn't a separate entity, but anime does it all the time. You've got like Sukuna and fucking Yuji is the one of the first modern examples that comes to mind for me. But yeah, really interesting take. The art is amazing, and there's one page in here where they give you like these instructions to hold the comic up to the light. Do that shit and make sure you follow the diagram correctly. It's really fucking cool. I'm not gonna spoil what happens there, but it's a really cool trick. I wonder, is it like an ink thing? I don't know, but it's really fucking cool. Check it out. I like it. I'm definitely intrigued. Like, it didn't blow me away in the same way that like Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman didn't blow me away, but Superman was really solid. Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman are still kind of the best for me. Although Flash was really good, I enjoyed Absolute Flash a lot. Uh, this, as of right now, is probably at the bottom rung of the Absolute titles, but that's just by default. I still really like it, and it's an interesting concept. And I'm really excited to see where this goes in terms of like John and his personal like psychology and mental health and like that effect on him. Like, you know, I'm really interested in that type of shit. So like, that's definitely up my alley. So mileage may vary for y'all. If you like it, this is definitely more of like a psychological character study kind of thing. It feels like. So if that's a little too slow for you, it might not be your thing. But I really enjoyed it. All right, now we're into like the middle, like bottom half of the pile. So we're getting to the books that I really, really liked this week. And as always, Ultimate Spider-Man is near the top of that list. Ultimate Spider-Man issue number 15. I believe this is Hickman and Messina. I apologize if I mispronounced the name. Art is beautiful here. This gets to show the Parker family on the run, like under the guise of going on a like cross country family vacation, and it's really fun. You get to see kind of the family bonding and like just doing normal things, but like Pete like having the weight of Harry's death really kind of crushing him and like affecting him pretty deeply. Even though we all know Harry's probably not dead because Mysterio was right there. So like it could have just been an illusion. But like Pete doesn't know about Mysterio. We do. So like we can't hold that against Pete. And I'm really starting to think, especially with the fact that Gwen refuses to answer her calls. That those theories about Gwen being the one behind the fishbowl might be true. But, that's just me. Also, like, Felicia and and Richie's little flirty text are adorable. It's really cute. And I do like the friendship he has with the Venom suit. And, like, Peter establishing the rules for, like, helping Richard and, like, how things are going to work. And, the suit reminding him, like, yeah, dude, of course I'm going to do that. Remember, like, my thought patterns are modeled after you, so, like, I'd do whatever you would do. So, that's really cool. Obviously, that's going to bite him in the ass, but, we're going to have to wait and see that. Right now, we're just going to enjoy the ride. I'm not going to think about it too much. But here, we actually get to meet the 6160 version of Flint Marko. He's trapped at this, like, abandoned experimental government lab. And, like, basically, he got caught snooping around, and so a bunch of what looks like AIM motherfuckers just took him and experimented on him. And, both Rich and Peter fight Marko for a bit, and then they realize, oh, like, he's being contained here by that tower thingy. Let's go ahead and destroy it. And so they destroy the thing, and, Sandman's like, oh shit, thank you. These are the first words I've been able to say in 3 years. I have not been able to take human form in years. Thank you so much. You saved me. So, interesting. Sandman might actually be an ally. I mean, Sandman being a good guy is nothing new. We've seen that in the 616 a bunch, and, like, people are always trying to give Sandman a more kind of sympathetic attitude. So, like, it's nothing new. We saw it even in the Raimi movies as well. So, like, that'll be interesting. He'll be a nice ally to have, because Sandman is actually, like, super useful. Like, you get this dude at a beach or a construction site, oh, it's game over. He's OP as fuck. But yeah, really interesting. The humor is still on point. Honestly, the thing that, like, I was really interested in, and I know some people, like, who are, like, more in this for, like, the action and the high-flying superhero shit, might have found this part more boring, but yo, the shit between Jonah, Ben, and Fisk, where, like, Fisk is just kind of, like, putting his dick on the table and being like, no, you know what? I like what you're doing. I like that you're, like, causing this dissent and, like, throwing dirt on my name. This gives me a nice distraction. Gives me something to do. A target to hit. When I was reading his dialogue, I was, like, hearing it in, like, the slight pause Vincent D'Onofrio cadence, because, Daredevil Born Again has been going on. So, like, that's how I've been reading it, and it just sounds so good. And, man, like, Uncle Ben has balls of steel. He goes so hard when he was like, oh, trust me, eventually this shadow is going to lift, and your whole operation is going to be curtains, and I'm going to be there to write that obituary. Holy shit, Uncle Ben. You fucking go. There's no way they're going to kill you, right? Like, they already killed Aunt May. I don't think they're going to kill you here. But you never know. Fisk doesn't play around in any universe, so we'll see. But I really liked it, man. I can't wait to see more of this. This was a nice kind of just, like, I don't want to say filler, because it's still important. The plot still moved forward, but this was more of a decompression issue after all the crazy shit that happened in issue 14. But I really appreciated it. Sometimes you do actually need to slow down. I know a lot of people complain that this book moves slow as hell, but, like, it's actually pretty fast if you're used to reading Hickman, and, like, the payoff is so worth it, y'all. Like, I'm telling you. Like, we get to, like, issue 20 and shit, it's gonna be crazy. And I am so excited for when Mysterio actually comes into play, because they are building up Mysterio really well. And That's really dope because Mysterio is a super underrated, like, big time Spider-Man villain. Like, personally, he's one of my favorites. Maybe because of the Spider-Man 2 movie game, like boss. Like, those missions were fun as hell. All right, now moving on to honestly what has become my favorite Absolute title, Absolute Wonder Woman issue number 6. This is written by Kelly Thompson with art by DeLuise. I'm sorry if I mispronounced the name again. I'm bad at this type of shit. Again, I apologize. It's not Hayden Sherman, but honestly, I like this art a lot. Art is really, really pretty. Um, this feels like straight up Greek mythology, and I love Greek mythology. It's one of my favorite subjects of all time. If you want me to just keep yapping and yapping for an endless amount of time, let me talk about Greek mythology. And, like, I've always felt that even though Wonder Woman is so intrinsically tied to Greek mythology, that very few runs actually really utilize it. Like, believe it or not, Brian Azzarello's New 52, even though they kind of twisted the Greek mythology in that one, his run did a really good job at actually incorporating Greek elements into it. Greg Rucka's run was amazing for that type of stuff. But this run and, like, this universe is amazing. We find out the origins of the Nemesis lasso, kind of like how it was forged. And it was forged using the blood and flesh of Prometheus, the Titan Prometheus, defender of humanity, who gave man fire and the spark of invention. Holy shit. And it makes so much sense, because, again, like, Prometheus is the Titan / god that believed in humanity the most. When Zeus was like, nah, just leave him to fucking starve. Like, Prometheus was like, no, I actually believe in them. I think they have potential. I'm just going to help them out a little bit. And then Zeus decided to send, because he defied Zeus's orders, even though he was a valuable asset and helped in the war against the Titans, his own brethren. Zeus decides, oh, you're going to defy me? All right, I'm going to torture you for all of eternity. You're chained to this mountain and you're going to have your liver pecked out by this eagle. Which Wonder Woman actually solves that. She, like, negotiates with the eagle and, again, uses love, which is a big theme, and, like, convinces it to, stop torturing Prometheus, which is huge. That's awesome. Again, it shows a lot of the love and compassion that Diana has. Very sweet. Again, really keeping the core of Diana's character intact. And you also get to see the origin of Pegasus here, which, like, Pegasus also technically spawned from Prometheus' flesh, which is really freaking sick. Oh my god. And man, oh man, the cliffhanger they have at this issue. Hades has Cersei, like, bound and chained up, and so he's going to be forced Diana into combat, fighting in this, like, what's probably going to be a gladiatorial arena. Intense. I'm here for it. I do dislike that, yet again, this is one of those things where Hades is the bad guy. And, like, to get on my, like, Greek mythological soapbox here, it's only really through, like, relatively recent stuff, through, like, kind of the more Christianization of Greek mythology, or seeing Greek mythology through a more Christian-like lens, where they turn Hades into a more devil / Satan-like figure, with, the story of Orpheus and Eurydice, like, bargaining for souls, being this cold, cruel king of the underworld, where Hades is actually the most level-headed of the three sons of Kronos, and is actually a very beloved king in the underworld, and, like, is well respected by his subjects and loved by his wife. It's just, I always hate it when Hades gets a bad rap, man, because, like, he doesn't deserve it. He really doesn't. And I'm always going to be upset when they just turn Hades as the bad guy because he's the underworld guy. Like, Cersei lives in the underworld. She's not a bad person. And, like, who knows? Diana's journey is all about love and understanding, so maybe we'll get to see that more loving and compassionate side of Hades, and Diana will bring that out. And that'll be exciting, because I would like an interpretation of Greek mythology that's cool and doesn't hate on Hades, please. But again, once again, this series just continues to knock it out of the park. I love Greek mythology, so I'm going to continue to rock with Absolute Wonder Woman. It is kicking so much ass. All right, we are down to the final 3 issues of my pile. I know I said I wouldn't make it under 30 minutes, but I lied. I knew I was going to yap for too long. But yeah, here we go, folks. The first of the Godzilla vs. Marvel one-shots. This is Godzilla versus the Fantastic Four. Written by Ryan North, who is the current main writer for the Fantastic Four right now, and art by the legendary John Romita Jr. And this is set in the 60s. And, like, there's no real need to go super in-depth. This is everything you want in a Godzilla vs. the Fantastic Four comic. Godzilla and the Fantastic Four scrap for a little bit. They get the Fantastic Four get their asses kicked because, you know, all crossovers have to start with the 2 characters fighting each other at first. You got to see them fight a little bit before they team up against their common enemy. And of course, the common enemy they fight is King Ghidorah, but not just King Ghidorah. King Ghidorah, imbued with the power cosmic by Galactus, turned into Galactus's new herald to bring wanton destruction to the Earth. Holy shit, that's wild. How are you going to counter that, you say? Why, none other than by having the Silver Surfer pour all of his cosmic power into Godzilla, creating Cosmic Godzilla. And so we have like a big cosmic kaiju fight, which is fucking sick. And then Sue decides to like hyperflex her powers because, you know, the thing Ryan North is always really good at with this stuff is he really embraces the sci-fi elements of the Fantastic Four and like the actual intricacies of their powers. And for this, he's like, you know, he mentions Sue's like, well, you know, my powers aren't just creating force fields and turning people invisible. It's all about bending light and energy. So if I tried really hard, I might be able to bend light to be able to create like, you know, solid hard light construct holograms. So, Ben, how would you like to turn kaiju size and go a few rounds with the King Ghidorah over here? As long as you get my good side, Susie Q, you've got a deal. And the thing gets to clobbering kaiju sized, going toe to toe against King Ghidorah. This shit was fucking awesome. It's a self-contained story, but honestly, it ends on a cliffhanger where I'm like, man, I know these are one-shots, but I would totally love a sequel to this. I would read an entire miniseries with this premise alone, because like they end on the cliffhanger of like Galactus possibly coming back and an inevitable conclusion / confrontation of Galactus versus Godzilla, which, by the way, the poster you see in the background is from this event, and it's fucking sick. Loved this a lot. This was a lot of fun. Honestly, like I really love Chris Smith's art in the or John Romita Jr.'s art in this. It's really good. Like I don't remember ever seeing him draw the Fantastic Four. Maybe in the 90s, but like it's really good. And like the colors and shading and stuff, it definitely reminds me of those old classic Lee and Kirby like Fantastic Four. And like with the lingo and the dialogue, it feels like a throwback to those times, but it's not trying too hard. They even include a lot of like Stan's classic like caption boxes and stuff like that. So again, a lot of fun. I had a blast with this. Next up, we're still talking about the Fantastic Four. This time we are talking about Fantastic Four, issue number 30. Written by Ryan North once again, and art by Chris Smith. I'm not gonna lie. I wish the art for One World Under Doom looked like this. No disrespect to RB Silva. Like, there are a lot of pages and panels of One World Under Doom that I like. But I just have a problem with the character faces. I don't know what it is. I have a problem with the character faces and just the lack of detail in the faces and the expressions. But here, the art is so expressive, and it's really important because this is a really emotional issue, and actually a direct sequel to what happened in the previous events of last issue of One World Under Doom, which makes sense because North is writing both. So, real quick recap: if you have not read the previous issue of One World Under Doom and you didn't watch my video last week, um, at the very end of it, our ever-loving blue-eyed thing here, as you can see, has been transformed back into Benjamin J. Grimm. Now, normally, in these types of stories, this would be, where Ben's like super hyped and living a like happy-go-lucky, carefree life. I'm handsome again. I get to bang my wife. You know, all that good stuff. But honestly, like with where Ben is at in the series, he's become really comfortable with himself as the Thing, and he's really kind of accepted and found purpose in being a protector. And like without his powers, he can't protect the people he cares about the most. And that's really getting to him. He finally found his purpose and it was just taken away from him. And it fucking crushes him. And the fact that like he is so depressed that he goes to the extreme of seeking out his father-in-law, Philip Masters, the puppet master, to basically mind control his depression away is so fucking sad. But man, does it hit you in the heart. And the dialogue between Alicia and the puppet master was so fucking good. And just Ryan North is really able to just nail the emotional crux of the Fantastic Four, the heart of everything. Just that moment where Alicia just hugs Ben while Ben is just like, I can't do this, Alicia. I can't. I can't. I'm not strong anymore. I'm not strong. And she just hugs him, soothes him, and just like, shh, it's okay. It's okay. I love you. And I was just like, oh my god. Oh. I might have shed a single tear or two. This was really emotional, man. This was really fucking emotional. And I gotta like Norris just knocked it out of the park. I love the Thing, dude. As a huge Fantastic Four fan, the ever loving blue-eyed Thing, you know, everybody says that Sue is the heart of the team, which, can be argued. Yeah, Sue is definitely I feel like Sue is the glue. But Ben, man, Ben is the heart. He's the one that you always really feel for. Dude, does it really hit home here. Man, this issue was really good. But not quite pick of the week. What did make pick of the week this time is Black Canary, Best of the Best, issue number 5, the penultimate issue of this amazing miniseries, written by Tom King, art by Ryan Sook. Holy shit, was this awesome. This book combines some of Tom King's biggest strengths. Great action and emotional gut punches. Cause boy oh boy, when he hits you with those punches in action juxtaposed with the emotional gut punches, when you see kind of the dynamic between Dinah's mom and herself, and this kind of just burden of expectation and wanting to be your parents, and the thing that's just super relatable as an adult, because your parents, when you're growing up and you're younger, your parents are like these larger than life figures, they're almost fucking superhuman, right? Like they can do no wrong. Your parents, been carrying you and like helping you out through life through your whole life. So like as you get older and when you actually see your parents are just people and they're struggling just as much to make it through, it it just fucks your world up, man. There's no other way to say it. It just fucks your world up. And it's a lot to process emotionally. And King just really hits this nail on the head. And look, I'll be completely transparent. I currently have a couple family members that are battling the big C, and so like this has been the kind of shit that's been on my mind a lot recently. So like this really resonated. So like it's earned pick of the week, 100%. Um, you guys, it's pretty much over now. There's only one issue left, but if you haven't already and you love the Black Canary, look, Tom King's miniseries, do not miss. Pick this up in trade if you don't want to pick up the floppies, because this book is awesome. All right, 40 minutes, 41 about. Not bad. We yapped a little bit longer than I would have wanted to, but we are done. And yeah, great episode. A lot of great comics. Let me know what you guys thought about these books in the comments down below. What were some of your favorites? Are there any on your pull list that I missed out on that you might want to recommend? Let me know all those thoughts and feels in the comments down below. Don't forget to do all the YouTube things. Like the video. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss any new episodes of Comic Chasers or our Channel Chasers podcast where we review current movies and TV shows. Our latest episode coming up, we'll be talking about the anime Sakamoto Days, Season 1. So definitely check that out when that drops. But for now, I'll catch you guys later. I hope you guys enjoyed this shot of pop culture. This has been Jay with Comic Chaser. Until next time, I'll catch you later. Peace.